Hello, my friends. Today's date is January the 17th, and this is a reading for you if this is your birth date, or if this is an anniversary or a special occasion date, but primarily this is a birthday reading for the year to follow. It's a four-card reading, a general energy card about maybe a sustained energy that goes through the year, or something that abruptly makes one shift and notice something else is happening in one's normal year. So that's the first card. The second card is the particular challenge you might have January the 17th, folks. The next card is an action to take to stay in balance. And then there's an outcome or a synopsis card, and we'll talk about that as we come to it. The general energy card of the year is the comic. Oh, so what is the comic? The ability to raise the energy of of a situation, of a room, of a space, of oneself through laughter, through joy, through foolishness, through jokerism, through sacred clownism, through reflections that are reflections that, the Joker has to be brilliant in some ways to rise above situations and see a situation from a bunch of different sides and make some kind of comical comparisons where everybody can be opened and taught a lesson on some regard. The Joker can be the ultimate healer, but the Joker can also fall into, a lot of shade and pettiness and poking fun at the wrong things at the wrong time can be kind of disastrous and label one not as a joker but as a mean-spirited imbecile. you know but the comic in its most sacred space is one who breaks down, I think, the rigidity of the routines of society and breaks down the rigidity of the laws and the boundaries that people have set and say, oh, but you're not taking this into account, so we're going to poke a little fun at you and we're going to show you a little way to laugh your way through some things and not just get angry about it or put it in denial or put it or hold it in some kind of bad space within one's heart. So the heart-centered cosmic clown Joker is what this is asking about. Are you rising above the situation and poking fun in a broad way this year that allows you to laugh and do some healing work for yourself and others? The thing that says to heal the heart are laughter and crying, grieving and laughing are both the same kind of energy waves. And often you'll see if you're laughing a lot, you'll suddenly start to cry. You release tears. And if you're crying a lot, you'll suddenly get to this kind of giddy, happy space quite often that, just has to crack it up because the heart needs that balance between laughter and crying. But oftentimes we don't cry enough, and laughter can be the thing that really cracks us open and breaks us through to a whole nother space where crying might be then the thing that follows because you've deepened your space of compassion, you've deepened your space of awareness, you've shared with others, a silliness of thought and expand people into, the joy of the moment. So what is your particular challenge with all that? It is the Empress. And what is the Empress except that, that highly intuitive part of ourself that's aware of emotions and aware of wants and aware of feelings and aware of the need for when love is required and aware of using compassion and aware of being a mother in essence to everyone and everything. Now, if you think about Mother Nature, there's also that part that, burns down the forest in order for the next generation of beings to really thrive. And so there's, the mother often has to do, some controlling in some ways to get things done and accomplished, but she does it out of a good heart and a wide heart and an expansive heart. So what's your challenge? is to be motherly in some kind of situation, is to be a beneficent mother who's sharing her resources and sharing her gifts and sharing her goods and sharing her blossoms and sharing her love and sharing her compassion. That's your challenge. Whether you're a man or a woman, it's your challenge to be, I think, motherly and trust your intuition in some kind of situations that's coming from you. This, so what's that mean for the comic? Well, I think that's when the comic might, revert to more small-minded, personal and petty kind of stuff. So this is an awareness to just to try to not be small-minded, to not try to not be petty, to try to be aware of how your humor, particularly if you are a comic, is might be mean-spirited and not necessarily funny and opening and eye-widening, but narrow and pointed at somebody who maybe not doesn't deserve to have that kind of energy, but maybe you're the one that's having that energy pointed to you as well. So there is that mirror that's often and always going to happen to us if we're projecting something, and someone else is going to show that we're often also the one who's doing that in the first place. Not necessarily, but often. So it's a great big beautiful bag of energy to look at. So what's your action that you can take, because you don't know necessarily what to do to make this a light situation. You don't know how to make this, a lighter situation. You don't know how to bring some mirth and some laughter into the situation. Well, maybe you have to ask for help, ask for guidance. The eagle, represents the ability to fly. One of the highest flying birds, represents the eagle to have the widest vision possible, the greatest humanitarian understandings possible, the greatest field positioning possible for the greatest advancement of oneself, and bringing light onto one's path. That's what the eagle is about. So what does that mean? That might mean that you go on a spirit journey to find your own answers, but you also more than likely have other guides and teachers and mentors that you can also ask about what is the right path, what is the right way to see this, what is the greatest vision that I can bring to this situation, how can I rise above my present situation like the eagle and fly above it and get some perspective that will allow me to laugh. What does that mean to you? Where do you get your perspective that can allow you to laugh? Where? That's what your answer is this year. Your action to take is you have to find some laughter in this, and you have to seek higher wisdom in order for you to find the absurdity or the foolishness or the simple sense of being stuck in patterns and stuck in smaller thoughts and stuck in smaller allowances than what the universe really wants you to be stuck in. So this is a year of healing, and I think it's a year of being artistic and being creative and stepping outside of your own box and painting with your own hands. Do some hand painting. Maybe one of those things you could do is pull up your childhood experience and dip your hands in some paint and throw some paint on a canvas and let whatever wants to shoot out of your hands go out onto a canvas. That can bring you a sense of joy, and maybe that's what this is all about, remembering how to find that sense of joy, joyous childhood laughter within yourself, and allowing yourself to be that foolish, that sacred clownish, that honoring of internal selfness, and in that child flavor, in that child expression, do we often find an adult who really wants to remember that child and be that child and allow that child to be, open and vulnerable in this world. And so, how do you do that? Well, laughter seems to be the biggest thing this year for you, is to find the way to laugh about it and to share your mirth and to raise the energies from a higher perspective, and to listen to people and beings and creatures who might be able to show you how to raise your energy, so you're not stuck in the negativity of being, the mother who doesn't know how to give, or does not want to give, or does not know how to open oneself up to be vulnerable again. And I think that's ultimately what this reading is about. Ahom Mitakuye Oyasin.